So today we're going to do a full body workout with a focus on single-sided work. So this is really great if you're recovering from an injury or if you just are aware that one side of your body is slightly stronger than the other and you're wanting to sort of balance things out a bit. So we're going to start standing. I'm going to use a prop for my warm-up. If you don't, I'm going to use the circle. If you don't have a circle, you could use a ball, you could hold a little pillow, or you don't need to hold anything. It's just really something to hug in the middle of your body. So I'm going to start standing on the mat. I'm going to stand at the front of my mat. My heels are together and my big toes are open, so I'm in my V feet or my Pilates stance. And if I'm using a prop, I'm just going to hold it straight in front of me and I'm hugging it softly, like I'm not trying to crush it. If you don't have a prop, you could bring your arms crossed at the chest with a feeling again of kind of pulling the arms out so the ribs can hug into the center. So it's just getting this feeling of pulling into the center line. So in this position, I'm just going to lift my heels and I'm going to lower my heels. I'm imagining a line running right through the middle of my body, down through the crown, my nose, my belly button, my inner thighs, my heels. And everything within me is softly pulling in towards that line. I'm going to do 2 more. And then I'm going to lift my heels and I'm going to open them so my feet are parallel, and I'm going to put my feet down. So I'm roughly a hip width apart with my feet. And now again, hugging that line, still with the prop or with your arms in genie position. I'm going to step backwards with my right leg like a lunge. I'm going to lower so my knee hovers off the floor, and then I'm going to come back up and come in. And I'm going to switch legs. So as I'm moving, I'm trying to stay in the middle of my body, but I'm watching that my feet don't kind of walk a tightrope behind me. They're not crossing each other. They're staying a hip width apart. I'm just letting my thigh bone move through the socket, and because my foot is connected to the ground, my knee has to bend to allow that movement, but I'm not thinking of bending my knee. Last one. And then step back with one leg, lower all the way down to the knee. Bring the other leg so you're kneeling. Both feet to the same side of the mat. Sit down into the gap you've created, bringing the legs to the front. And then lie all the way down. And then the prop can just go to the side. So now I'm going to lie with my legs bent. I'm in a neutral position, so I've got a bit of a gap under my lower back, but nothing too big. My ribs are softening or knitting together into my center. And I'm going to take my right leg and I'm going to lie it on the ground to start. So I have one leg straight and one leg bent. And they're touching in the middle, you know. My arms are going to come up into the air, I'm going to lift my head and I'm going to roll up. And then I'm going to lie back down. I'm going to stay on this side. As I lift, I can look at my pelvis and just notice is one side higher than the other, or is it nice and even on the mat? And as I lower back down, I can just notice, am I swaying or am I really hugging that imaginary line? Now I'm going to lift the right leg so that the legs are together, one leg's in the air and the other leg's down, and I'm going to roll up again. I'm doing 3. So this is like a single leg teaser. It's actually a bit mean of me to bring this in right at the start, but you know, why not? We'll do one more. Even from right to left, hugging into the middle. And then lower that leg down so it's bent and straighten the other leg, resting it on the mat. 3 roll-ups with a straight leg. Again, looking down your body, pulling into the middle, and just noticing is one hip wanting to hike or change. I think that's 3. Let's lift the left leg up, inner thighs together, 3 more. Last one, articulating through each side of the spine or each side of the body, and then lowering that leg down so both legs are bent. I've got a list here, that's why I keep looking over. Now we're going to do knee folds. I'm going to bring my arms by the side to start, right leg into tabletop, belly in deeply, left leg into tabletop. And now working from right in the head of the thigh bone, I'm going to pull my right foot towards the mat and lift it back up. Left leg and up. And I'm just noticing within my body where I'm sensing any feelings of the rib cage or the pelvis wanting to twist. And I'm just trying to soften that urge by really hugging the center line, that little imaginary line that we found at the start. Float the arms to the ceiling. Keep moving the legs. Now if you've got like a squidgy ball, it can be quite nice to put that underneath your pelvis for these, because then it challenges you a little bit more and it really highlights if one side of the body is wanting to dominate. Take the arms backwards at a diagonal, keeping the ribs connected and the back connected. Last set. And last one. And then lower down. Excellent. Now from here we're going to go into a bit of rotation. I'm going to put the hands behind my head, palm over palm. My legs I'm going to keep a hip width apart. And I'm going to lift my head and shoulders up off the mat. Nice big curl up. I'm going to rotate to the left just so I'm looking to the screen. Big twist. Notice that I'm not lying down on the mat. Legs into tabletop. And I'm going to knee fold. With a smile. Trying to keep even so I'm not rocking onto one side of my pelvis. I'm right in the middle of it. Now I'm going to straighten the leg forwards. Come back to tabletop. Switch. Could you rotate more? One more set. And center lie down. So now we're going to do the other side. Exactly the same thing. Knee folds first into that straight leg. So I'm going to curl up. I'm going to rotate, making sure my right armpit is not on the mat. And I'm going to knee fold. Trying to stay in that rotation. See, for me, this already feels harder to twist. Straight leg. Really trying to wrap my ribs around. Last set. And lie down. So the challenge there, straighten out the legs, just have a stretch, is to really rotate the upper body without losing the even weighting on the back of the pelvis. So we're trying to keep everything nice and balanced in the center. I'm going to bend my knees and I'm going to go into bridging. Arms are by the side. I'm going to have my legs together in the center. So I'm going to do 5 bridges, just nice even bridges so I can feel where the middle of my body is. Softening the ribs so that the hips just lift. And as I do these 5, I'm noticing at what point of my bridge my legs, my inner thighs, want to like come away from each other, where I have to work a bit harder. 3 more. And 2. Last one. It's here. I've already worked hard to keep them together. And then again at the very bottom. And now I'm going to take my legs so they're hip width apart. I'm going to lift into my bridge. I'm going to hold that position. Now here you might put your hands on your hips so you've got a bit of feedback. If you feel particularly unstable, you can actually kind of hold the pelvis to keep it centered, or you keep the arms by the side. And we're going to knee fold. So we're going to isolate this head of the thigh bone, and we're going to lift up one leg, tabletop. And we're not dipping to this side. Again, we're hugging the center with the ribs. So you can kind of glance, make sure you're still level, belly in. Checking the ribs, are they flaring? Can you lift from the seat more? Last one. And roll down. Now bring the knees and the feet together, lift the hips back up. Tabletop the right leg, lengthen it to the ceiling. And now think of lifting or reaching to the ceiling more. We're going to lower this leg down like we're always reaching for the ceiling and then come back up. We're just going to go in line with the other thigh. Reach, 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 and up. One more. And then lower all the way down to the mat. But watch that right hip, it's not falling, it's still lifting. And then bring the leg in and roll down. Legs check that they're still touching, lift the hips back up. Left leg tabletop, lengthen up, reach it more, reach it far away, skim the ceiling and come back up. Reach for the ceiling and come back up. Really stretch out of the waist and then lower it all the way down. Watch this left hip, it's not falling. And then come back in and roll down. Lengthen the legs out, give them a shake, and then roll over onto your side. So I'm going onto my left hand side, again, just so I'm facing you. I'm going to prop myself up on my forearm, and my legs are going to be just stacked to the front. Excuse me. I'm really pulling my elbow underneath me, and as I do that, if I feel with my other hand, my waist engages, so it's nice and lifted. My top leg is going to lift to hip height. I'm going to bring it in line with me at the back, so I'm in a straight line here, pull a bit deeper under the armpit, and I'm going to lower and lift this leg, and I'm just parallel. So when we're moving the leg, it's easy to start sagging, but I want your focus to be upper body. You can keep your right hand here, it's actually quite nice feedback. You're really lifting off it. Hips are stacked. We're just lifting and lowering this leg. Kind of a bit above hip height and then back to the mat. Now I'm going to rotate out, heel down, toes up, but I'm not splaying backwards. I'm really rotating right in the joint, and I'm going to lift and lower here. Still lifting off my waist, off my elbow. I'm moving my hands around, checking everything. 2 more. Now I'm going to rotate in, toes down, heels up, trying not to fall forwards. And I'm going to lift and lower here. Really reaching out as far as you can. And then rest the leg. Good. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So if you've got more time, you can increase the reps. You just do what you've got time for. So I'm propping myself up. Again, I'm checking the underneath of my waist. One leg's to the front, the other leg's reaching to the back. I'm stacked, I'm square. I'm going to start with that parallel leg. Lift and lower. And really lift away from the mat as much as you can. And that helps to take it out of the shoulder. That's why we don't want to sag into it. We want to really hold our body up with our waist. Now I'm going to turn out, watching I don't splay. Same thing. Thinking of all that length in the leg. And now I'm going to rotate in, trying not to roll forwards. Lifting from right here in the socket. Have you slumped? Could you get taller off that mat? And then rest. Okay, from there I'm going to roll onto all fours. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Just going to take a moment to visualize a line running through the middle of my mat. And everything's pulling into it. And without leaning from one side to the other, I'm going to just tap my right hand to my left shoulder. And I'm going to switch, I'm going to alternate. So you could rush this movement and not actually notice that your body is wanting to shift its body weight when you change hands. So this is actually about going slowly and really feeling that intention of keeping the body weight centered, which means that you're standing on the hand that's actually not on the mat. So for me, when I lift my left hand, I can almost feel my hips shift. I've got to hug something imaginary between my legs at that point. Last one. And pause. Now I'm going to walk out into a plank. So that's us moving the arms there. Now we're going to think about the legs. I'm going to be in Pilates stance, so my heels will be together and touching. And I'm in a nice long line. Just move my hands back a bit. So now without shifting my body weight, I'm going to lift my right leg up and bring it down. And the left leg. And bring it down. And I'm pushing the mat like I want to push it through the floor. I want to get as far away from it as I can. As I lift the leg, my pelvis wraps forwards so that I'm not splaying. Again, I'm staying just nice and level, really isolating the leg. One more. And put the knees down. Sit back into a quick rest position, hips to feet. And then we're going to come forwards back onto all fours. Again, knees under hips and hands under shoulders. So without your bum going backwards, we want to try and keep the thigh bone as vertical as we can. I'm going to walk my hands as close towards my knees as I can. So my back has to round in order to do that. And then I'm going to climb up onto my fingertips. Again, without my bum going backwards, as high up as I can. And now, without my, hopefully, feet lifting or my bum going backwards, I'm going to see if I can let go of that mat at the same time. I don't think I can. Let's see what happens. Oh, my feet. And roll all the way up. And then we're going to round back down and we're going to reset. We're going to walk in as close as we can, lifting the belly, curling the tail, climbing up onto our fingertips, trying to keep the thigh bone still. Can we lift both hands at the same time? Ooh. And we're going to round back down and do that one more time. I find this really hard. And we're going to walk back in, hands as close as we can to the knees, coming up onto the fingertips. Thigh bones pushing forwards as we roll up. Ooh. And rest. Good. And then from there, I'm going to just round forwards. I'm going to sit back into rest position. Knees are together and touching. And I'm going to take 3 nice big breaths, filling my back body with air. Letting each lung expand. And then take the hands to the edge of your mat and bring the left hand over the top of the right hand and just stretch through that left side. And then take the hands back, right hand over left hand, and stretch through that side. Keeping the feet, or the heels, sorry, keeping the bum connected to the heels. And then come back to center, roll yourselves all the way up. Lovely. And that's you done. So just some examples there of things that you can do, single-sided work to help strengthen the bits that need strengthening so that they can catch up with the bits that are already strong. And if you're recovering from an injury, a really great way of just regaining balance within your body.